something so simple can turn into a disaster. One of the dislikes I had for 5711. There's a wee thing I don't like about this tractor. You just hope that this list is much bigger than this list. It's a sad day. This day was always going to come. 5711 is heading off. It's heading back home. It's here for its holidays. It's way back home. So we'll go get it loaded onto the lorry. And they kind of caught me in the hop because they told me they were coming tomorrow, and I was kind of wanting to do a little job lined up for it, and they landed down today. So anyway, there you go. So yeah, so the 5711's heading home. That's that. But we'll do a review of it after I get it on the lorry. Then I'll tell you what I thought of it, and I've some archive footage, let's call it that. Videos I shot previously, and I'll show you some of the things I liked, some of the things I didn't like, etc, etc. So let's go get it on the lorry, and then we'll come back to it. There you go. Couldn't get like 1.5 hour of dryness to let the tractor go, but it had to be raining on me. Anyway, that just added insult to injury. Anyway, the 5711M, it's gone back home. Was here for its holidays. Had a good little holiday. Was here for 4 weeks in my time, which is probably something like 6 or 7 weeks in YouTube time. And we'll get into how it did, but I'm back in, camera's twisted. I'm back in my old faithful, the 3075, who isn't going anywhere. So, how did the 5711M do? Well, I think I'll go up, put this tractor back in, and we'll do a little comparison and see just how it got on, and I'll tell you the things that I liked, I'll tell you things I didn't like, and I'll tell you overall what I thought of it. So stick this back in the shed and we'll get the review underway. Okay, 5711 is gone. Here's a little reminder of what it did when it was here. Do this bit with the whiteboard because I'm inside, it's nice and dry, you can hear me. and there's a lot to list out and remember, and I thought it was easier just to put it on the board, you could see it, and I could chat about it, and then we could all understand it. So I've got likes and dislikes. Let's get into them. Let's get a look at the dislikes first. One of the things that bugged me was the toolbox. Toolbox was, well, unless you're 7 foot tall, it's not just you. It's much better if it was on the back of the tractor. Having it stuck up on the loader, you had to climb up on the step, see in to get the tools you want. So much better, it's on the back. Bit like the 390T. I'll show you. Is at the back of the tractor where you would hope to have it. Useful there because the pins and everything you need is in there, and you're working normally in this area. Now, in the 5711, I thought a better place for the toolbox would have been up there, only they had this black thing, I don't know what that was, but that would have been a better place for the toolbox if you asked me. So that was one of the dislikes I had for the 5711. So next thing was rear arms. Not specifically the rear arms, but the adjustment of the rear arms. You couldn't adjust them easily when you had an implement on the back of 3-point linkage. Again, let me show you. There's a wee thing I don't like about this tractor. It's just a little design thing that Massey just is overlooked. But this, if you want to adjust this, these arms, it hits the. You can only really adjust those arms when they are completely out of the balls. If you want to adjust the arms when it's on an implement, these two clash. It's just a little dopey thing. What I have to do now is I have to take this back off again, take the top link off again, so I can adjust these arms up, because I need the height to lift this up. Yeah, bit of a bollocks that, but I guess it is what it is. It's a good idea, but just clashes here, so see it there. Anyway, right, remember on the 5711 I showed you these, get the camera right, these adjustables that at a certain height you can't adjust them. On this tractor, no matter what height they're at, arms are up, you can adjust them. Put the arms down, eventually. See? You can still adjust them. Do a bit of grease on there actually. It doesn't hit the arms here. So there's a little dopey thing there that just a little bit of a design thing, but not a big deal. But on the old 62, you can adjust them at any height. You don't need to take the implement off again to adjust them. So that's just a little thing that's bugs me on that. But anyway. Right, next thing that I didn't like was there was no PTO off switch on the back outside of the tractor, on the back of the tractor. This is it's very handy and safe when you have that on the back, especially if it's a stock tractor, when you're mixing slurry, pumping slurry. Even the 3065, the 6265 has the PTO switch on the back. So it's just a spec item. You can order it up. If you order a new tractor, you can order up this. It just wasn't on that tractor. So if I was buying one, I'd want that switch on the back. PTO off, when you get off the seat, there's a safety measure in the tractor that when you get off the seat, the PTO disengages. So I'm not going to knock safety measures, but it was quite annoying because it took me a while to kind of remember it was there. And when you get off the seat, the tractor beeps and you have to reach onto the steering wheel and hit OK. Much better if they had it maybe on the joystick or something, that when you get off the seat you just hit the button and override it and say, okay, I know I'm getting off the seat. As I say, I'm not going to knock safety measures, but there was probably a better way of doing that. PTO lock. So there's 3 stages in the PTO switch. There's PTO on, there's PTO off, and then there's PTO lock. Now, I was told never go from on to lock, because that just locks the PTO in the tractor, and that could damage the tractor if you go directly to lock. Now, when I was mixing slurry, or lifting slurry actually, with the pump on the tanker, the pump is not turning at a lot of revolutions, and it's a very light item to drive. So a few times I jumped into the cab and I hit off, but it went from on to off to lock, so I just basically went from off to lock. Now, not a big deal on the slurry pump, but it would be a much bigger deal if you were on, for example, the mower, or something that has a high momentum, has a lot of kinetic energy. So if that was to go from on to lock, you could damage it. So I thought the PTO should have a simple mechanism that you can't just go on to lock, that you just go on to off, and then you have to do another maybe move to get it to go into lock. So that was something I didn't like. Also, the handbrake gave me a bit of trouble. I think it's just an easily adjusted thing, but a lot of times you're putting it off and setting it down and the tractor wasn't registering, yet it was off. I don't know, you had to jiggle it around a little bit. I think that's just an adjustment. It's not a kind of reflection of the handbrake itself. So that kind of bugged me. So that was the probably the main dislikes I had. The biggest one would have been these rear arms. That was a bit of a bollocks. And yeah, so anyway, that's the dislikes. There are many more likes than there are dislikes. Let's take a look at them. Now, first thing, traction. Even though the fields are not dry, the tractor had great traction. It went everywhere I asked it to go. You've seen it taking the tanker to the far corners of the fields, and I think the camera just doesn't, in those videos, doesn't show you just how steep that is there. And that little tractor took that tanker up there, and you saw it spreading the load, so it wasn't an empty tanker. So it had 540/65 38s on the back, it had 440/65 28s on the front. Those were Alliance tyres. Now I think they suit that tractor really well. I'm not so sure for a real old tractor, a classic tractor, they would look right, but certainly for that tractor, great job, great traction. Right, stability. So 5711 has a low center of gravity. You've seen it in the videos, you've seen how it sits low, and with the big wide tires on it, no matter where it went, I felt safe. So I mean, there are parts of our farm that are so steep, even a mountain goat probably wouldn't go on them, but the bits that we did go on, that little tractor felt safe, and I had no issues there with stability. So gets a thumbs up from me on stability. Very stable little tractor. Next thing was vision. With the 57, you sit quite far back in the cab, and you have then great peripheral vision. Peripheral vision, also very important when landing a plane, equally important when working the machine on the tractor. You need to see what's going on in front of you, you need to see what's going on behind you, and if you're sitting there, you can pick up any obstructions, any obstacles, any things that are in your peripheral vision. And with being sitting so far back in the cab, you have great peripheral vision. Also, the cab itself had great vision out of the cab. Now you could argue the loader sticks up a bit, yes it does, but you've got to sacrifice that to get the height. Height is not so big deal for us because we don't stack stuff up high, but anyway, so that was vision, good vision, great view out of the cab on 5711. Right, quick release. The quick release mechanism in the loader, I loved that little feature. Didn't have to get out of the cab. You saw me in previous videos wrestling with our 6265, trying to get the front thing on, jiggling it around, doing all this stuff just to get it to latch in. None of that carry on. Just push the button, switch, on it goes. Same, off, take it off, no problem. So that's quick release, love that. Best feature, I thought, one of the best features, joystick. Fantastic job, love that. It was really comfortable, and you'll have heard me going on all the videos talking about comfort. Joystick was one of them. You were able to, it took me a while to not realize, but to remind myself that the gears were on there. I was always using the power shuttle for the gears, but they're on the joystick. So yeah, great feature, love that. Self-level, another great feature, self-level on the loader, self-level on the rear arms. You saw me taking the bales over the old potato drills in the fields, and I think in one of the videos you can see the loader just sort of doing that. That was a great feature. Added to the comfort, fantastic. Loved the self-level. Cab suspension, another feature that I really liked on the tractor. Simply just another comfort issue, but yeah, it did make a difference. Safety features, right. The power shuttle on this tractor, there's a little lever up here. When you put it up, it goes forward, pull it back, goes back. That disengages when you're not on the seat, a very important safety feature. Now, I've been caught out with this a couple of times on the 62s. I'll let this guy explain it better. Right, I'm going to show you a little safety feature that is on the 5711, which I think is a brilliant thing, which is not on any of the tractors here. Now, probably other modern tractors will have it, but we're not comparing against those. We're comparing against the ones on the farm. And this is a little, this happened to me twice now, and thankfully there was no issues or injuries, just simple, but it's really easy to see how something so simple can turn into a disaster, and I'll explain what. I saw in the winter time, I wear overalls and they're normally loose, no smart comments, and with those overalls they're hanging loose, and I have come into the cab. This is a little power shuttle lever. I'll put my foot in the clutch, and you put that forward to go forward, and you put it back to go back, right? So I'll demonstrate actually. Here we go. See? And I'm sitting on the seat. Right, now, what happened to me was, I'll show you. Coming in the door, said door is open, and I caught it with my overalls. Now I'm up in the field here, I'm safe enough. But I caught it with my overalls and I actually caught it and I dragged it backwards, but wait to show you. I'm off the seat. This tractor still drives. So, in the 57, if you're off the seat, that won't work. And that is a brilliant safety measure. That has caught me out twice. And I even did it in the 57 with, I think this thing, I had this down zipped and I caught it. And it didn't move, it just beeped and said, what are you doing? Why are you trying to drive me and you're not in the seat? Brilliant safety measure on the 57. Not so cool on the 62. There you go. Another thing I really liked with this tractor, it has two doors. You never see that in a Massey. Well, you do, but I would say a lot of Masseys have 1.5, maybe 1 1/3, sometimes 1 1/4 doors. This one has 2 doors. All you do is pull up the joystick, the whole mechanism folds back, and you can get out and in either door. So, no, I think in maybe a higher spec tractor with the additional screens at the front, that might be somewhat different. But on this tractor, because we're only comparing this one, it had, 2 doors. And on our farm, there are so many little tight places, feeding passage is tight, the cubicle house is tight. There are other areas you saw me parking the tractor, getting in and out of. 2 doors is a must for us. On our 62, 65, we only have 1 door. The loader mechanism blocks off that other door. 6290, the gear stick, you have 2 doors, but the gear stick does get in the way. 3075, similar. This tractor, no, 2 doors. So, like that. Last feature, I think is an important one for us, was the tractor's simple to use. Anybody can use it. So if you can drive the 62s and the 3075s, you can drive this tractor. So simplicity was a great little feature. Having that little additional, I suppose the 100 litre capacity in the pump is a good thing, but it's a simple switch. But it was a bit fast for me at the start, but I kind of got used to it, but a great little feature on the tractor. So those are kind of, there's many other lights, but I kind of picked the top, whatever that is, 10 likes. So yeah, that's my dislikes, that's my likes for the 5711. Right. Okay, so we've seen the dislikes, we've seen the likes. There's a lot more likes than there is dislikes. There's a lot of likes I didn't list. And the dislikes themselves are somewhat minor in nature. So, you know, you're never going to, no matter what brand it is, you're never going to like everything, and you're never going to dislike everything unless there's something badly wrong. So there's always going to be two lists for no matter what brand it is, or what make it is, or what type it is. You're going to have two lists. You just hope that this list is much bigger than this list. Now let's see how it would do, or how it did up against the classics, up against the 6290, the 6265, 3075, and of course Dad's favourite T90T. So we'll get rid of this and we'll see how it went against those. Although I might need a bigger board for this. We'll see. Anyway, let's get stuck into that bit. Right, hope you can see this because I know the light's kind of reflecting on it. But so I've listed out the classics, I've listed out 57, and I've listed out a number of factors that I compared against both. So remember, 5711M was up against the 6290, 6265, the 390T and the 3075. It had to do their jobs as good as, if not better than what they did. Now, they are classic tractors in their own right. This is a modern tractor, so you would kind of expect it to be able to do that. But whenever the tractor came, I never told Michael Derrys that I was going to put it up against the 6290. The 6290 is a 6-cylinder turbo, 140 horsepower tractor, which weighs probably a ton more than that tractor does. And it was to see, could it even do its job? So let's get into this. So how did the 5711M do? Let's look at it under the following categories. So I looked at safety, I looked at economy, comfort, environment, usability, how usable was it, maintenance, and looks. Why looks? Well, if you're going to buy a brand new tractor, it's got to look cool. Doesn't look cool? No point buying it. And then we'll scroll them up at the bottom. So let's start with safety. What safety features do the classics have? Not really anything more safe on those tractors than on this tractor. But this tractor had a number of safety features that they didn't have. First of all, it had I mentioned earlier on about the power shuttle, so when you put the power shuttle forward but you weren't on the seat, the tractor didn't drive. On these ones it does, and it's caught me a few times, and it's something I have to watch out for now. And this tractor didn't do that. So, power shuttle. Also, visibility. Great visibility out of this tractor, I thought. Sit far back, you can see everything, great visibility. Good visibility out of 62s, maybe not so much out of 390T. So I think the whole thing was stability, actually. Very stable tractor. They're also stable, they also go on the same slopes, but this tractor had stability, good stability and traction. These tractors, two of them have good tires, maybe not so much on the 390T. A few times we've been sliding around on it. So for safety, I'm going to give the 57 a tick over there. That's safety. Right, economy. Now, I know you're sitting forward in your seat for this one. Very hard to tell how economic this tractor was against these tractors, for the simple reason is that I wasn't driving them all the time, and it was very hard to measure how much fuel was going into them versus how much fuel. You can measure how much was going into this one because it tells you, it gives you a readout, but on these, no readout. So it was hard to know just what fuel was going in. The other thing was, this tractor does have a 108 litre tank with a 25 litre AdBlue tank, and I think it's about 4 tanks of diesel to 1 tank of AdBlue. We never use 4 tanks of diesel, by the way, so we never had the top up by AdBlue. This tractor also has the economy mode, you know, the 540E, which was a handy little feature when you're doing something of low horsepower. Although these tractors have, apart from 3075, half the 1000 shaft. So what you can do is, which is kind of the same thing as that, but it's a per man's 540E, we'll call it that. You can put these tractors into 1000 shaft and just run them at half revs, and you're going to get roughly 540 on the PTO at the back with half the revs for low horsepower jobs. So you that kind of cancels each other out. Plus the the 390T is probably going to use less fuel than this. The 6290 is probably going to use more fuel than this. So for that, I'm going to give them both a tick. So that's economy. Comfort. You know where the tick's going in this one. This tractor had cab suspension. It had a ergonomic layout, so everything was quite handy to your hand. Let's do these. So, but yeah, cab suspension. Easy ride feature was brilliant on those old potato drills when you're carting bales. Also noise when you shut the back window. Very quiet in the cab of this tractor. Not so quiet in the 390T. So yeah, so for comfort, I'm going to give this tractor the tick. Right, next is the environment. Now, I know you're going to say, what? Why are you bringing up the environment? Well, it's the era we live in. Everything you do is now linked to the environment. So the packaging you buy will be environmentally friendly, or it will be recycled, or whatever you do, the environment is now, or should be, in the forefront. So if you're buying a new tractor, probably you have to consider the environment as well. These old tractors, they're not very environmentally friendly. They just burn fossil fuels, diesel, and that's it. 5711M, now I know this is going to pay a lot of people off, but it does have AdBlue. It does have that whole, emissions reduction stuff in there. I'm not going to go into all that, but it is more environmentally friendly than these. So it gets a tick. Now I know that's going to be a few people are going to be up in arms at that one, but anyway, yeah, AdBlue, and I know people take AdBlue out. I'm not advocating you do that, but yeah, it is, as it sits at the moment, as a brand new tractor versus them, it's more environmentally friendly, or in theory it should be. So no tick for them on the environment. Next thing up is usability, and there's two items to look at here. One is that it's simple to use, and the second is that it was able to do the jobs of the classics. It was able to do the same jobs that they were asked to do. So, going to the latter first, did it do the jobs that they did? Yes, it did. It did every single job that they did. In fact, did it well. I was amazed at its ability to take the tanker, I've said it before, to take the tanker to the far corners of the field, but it did it, and that's the job of the 6290. A tractor of greater horsepower, greater weight, and more power. So 5711M did that. Also, it is quite a usable little tractor. I may have mentioned it earlier, but yeah, the switches are handy. It's simple layout inside, just the hydraulic spool valve levers, etc. It's all there. So I thought it was a easy to use. I was able to do the jobs, and yeah, so it gets a tick. However, these tractors, the classics, are also very usable. They do exactly the jobs that does, and the 390T is so simple. It's Dad's favourite tractor. You couldn't chase him out of it with explosives. So they're usable. So they get a tick too. Now, maintenance is the next one. Now, this one this one pains me. Both will require regular maintenance. That's, put regular in there, regular in there. So that's oil and filter changes. Both require that. So you can't get away from that. Maybe, I think even, I don't know how many hours it is, but, so you need to do that no matter what you're driving. It's a car, a bus, a plane, everything needs regular maintenance. So they're both the same. Now, it's the response maintenance or the ad hoc or the reactive maintenance that causes the problem. With this tractor, with the 57, you're going to get 3 to 5 year warranty, and there will be certain items covered under that. With these tractors, no warranty. It ran out a lifetime ago. And with these tractors, you will have a lot more response, reactive, whatever you want to call it, maintenance. Like going back in the last year, for the 3075, I've had to rebuild the engine, I've had to rebuild the dyno shift. V90T has been offline the whole time this tractor's been here. Spent approximately a couple of thousand fixing that up. So I had the radiator burst, which you've seen, had to be re-cored. Then when I took the panels off, they were rotten, they had to be sandblasted, repaired, painted. When those were off, we serviced the tractor. That's regular maintenance, you can't count that. But we also noticed some things that needed fixed. The Hardy Spicer in the front drive shaft was on its way out, had to be replaced, all the minor little things. So these old tractors, for response maintenance, they cost money. They cost a lot of money. Now, I know you're going to say, hold on a minute, they're 30 years old. What's this tractor going to be like when it's 30 years old? I don't know. I cannot see that forward into the future. If I did, or was able to do, I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be way off with the lottery numbers in Barbados, and you wouldn't see me again. So, what's it going to be like in 25, 30 years compared to these? I don't know. You tell me what you think. Will it be here? Who knows? They're here. And with regular maintenance and response maintenance and keeping them going, they're probably going to be here in the next 25 to 30 years. I can't tell you about this one, but I know these because they are here. So, yeah. So maintenance, there's very little maintenance on this, quite a lot of maintenance on them. So for that reason, this gets a tick. For now, I'm only comparing today. I'm not looking 5 years time, 10 years time, we're just comparing today. So, a lot of money spent on these, very little on this, so that gets a tick. Right, this is a bit of a dopey one, but looks, well, they get a tick. They look cool. Of course they look cool. Does this tractor look cool? I think it does. So I'm going to give it a tick as well. There you go. Right, so how did it do? Let's see how many scores we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they got 1, 2, 3. So yeah, so it's ahead on those features, and you would expect it to be. It's a brand new tractor, right? Those are old, 30 plus years old tractors. Of course, it's going to be ahead in some features. So this brings me to the end, and what did I actually think of it? Well, I thought it was a compact, capable, and comfortable little tractor. It was able to do the jobs on the farm that these tractors do, the classics. Now, if it had been on a tillage farm, maybe not so much. Heavier machines, you need the horsepower, you need the weight. But on our farm, the 6290 is maybe a bit over spec for what we needed, but we just wanted, when we bought that tractor, we just wanted that horsepower and that weight there, just in case we ever needed it. So, would I buy the 5711M? Well, no, I wouldn't. Well, a caveat. Why is that? Well, it didn't have the rear PTO stop, which I would want if I was buying a new tractor. It's a very important safety feature for us. In previous times, we've been devils for climbing on the back and knocking the PTO off, and that is a major no-no. We don't do that anymore. But just to have that switch on the back, I'd want that on a new tractor. I would also want a little bit more horsepower. Didn't need it on this occasion for what we did here, but just to have it there. So I wouldn't buy, for me, I wouldn't buy a 5711. I would have bought a 5713M just to have that little bit of horsepower with a rear PTO stop. So in summary, I really liked it. I liked the 57 series. I liked the simplicity of it, yeah, I thought it was a great little tractor, and we were sorry to see it go, but our farm could never justify, it's just not big enough to buy a brand new tractor. And the reason we have the classics is more because we enjoy the classics. This channel's about classic masses, and they will always be there if we can help it. They'll always be there. We'll always be driving and fixing them, and no matter what the maintenance says. So yeah, I think for us, in order to justify buying a brand new tractor, it doesn't matter what colour it is or where it comes from, we would have to get rid of a bundle of these just to buy that. There'd be no sense in buying a brand new tractor and keeping all them for what we do. The farm just wouldn't ever justify it in a million years. So yeah, so in order to buy that tractor, these old girls, a lot of them probably would have to go to pay for that one, but that ain't gonna happen. They're here to stay. So there you go, folks. That is now the end of the video. Just want to say big thank you to Mickle Dairies for sending the tractor down to us. Very kind of them to send it down for the month it was here. And thanks to Kevin for arranging that. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and get on the comments if you have something to say. If you don't agree or do agree, whatever, let me know what you think. And that's it. So take care. Thanks for watching. See you next video. Bye bye.